Reacher's Alan Ritchson dissects Season 2 dynamics. After solving his brother's murder in Season 1 of Reacher, the titular character finds himself immersed in the middle of a big conspiracy. Based on Bad Luck and Trouble, the 11th novel in Lee Child series, the second season of the TV series kicks off with Jack Reacher Alan Ritchson reuniting with his former 110th Special Investigation Unit, an army team he handpicked to crack the toughest cases. It turns out one of their colleagues has been brutally murdered, and the rest of the squadron might be targets too. Along with the remaining 110th members, married man and fighter David O'Donnell, Sean Sipos, resourceful private investigator Frances Neagley, Maria Sten, and forensic accountant Carla Dixon, Serene DeSwan, Reacher must piece together who is hunting them down and why. In an interview with CBR, Reacher star Alan Ritchson teased what fans can expect as Season 2 continues and discussed his connection to his iconic character. Alan Ritchson: I agree, this is a breakout role. This is a real treat. What clicks for me is the character. I think I understand how his mind works physically, how he moves about the world, and what drives him morally and ethically. But I think the fact that I am taking part in an anthology is what's so exciting to me. I am somebody who gets bored easily. The fact that we get to build a whole new world every season. When do you get to do that as an actor? What does Season 2 explore with Reacher that maybe audiences weren't privy to before? Definitely what Reacher feels like at home. Season 2 is about him reuniting with members of his 110th, which is a group he started with people he handpicked that he respects deeply and that he feels responsible for. As some of them go missing, they reunite to see if they can solve the case. So he's very much with his adopted family, and that couldn't be more different than the world of Margrave we met him in. It's going to make for some really special relationships, stakes, and banter. What family is functional? Show me one. The chemistry that you see if you experience that really has everything to do with the actors and actresses that play those parts. They really brought a sense of warmth and familiarity to the roles. So that's really all in the casting. Kristen Kruk appeared in Season 1. Serene DeSwan stars in Season 2. Both are Smallville alum. What other actors from that show are on your wish list to guest star as either a friend for Reacher or a foe? Oh God, you're going to get me in trouble. I really love Justin Hartley. Working with him was a lot of fun, but I can see him being a villain. He's like a Golden Glove boxer, so that would be a fun fight. Maybe we will make him a villain. I think we get Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling together to play a Hardy Boys type pair, and we all detective together. Just 3 chums. How's that for a politically correct answer? With its gritty narrative, powerful performances, and intense action, Reacher became an instant hit on Amazon Prime Video, largely driven by Alan Ritchson's commanding portrayal of the titular character, Jack Reacher. Based on the best-selling novels by Lee Child, the show captures the essence of Reacher, a towering ex-military investigator who solves crimes with his sharp mind and even sharper fists. As the series enters its second season, fans are eager to see how the dynamics shift and evolve, especially given the high expectations set by the first season. Alan Ritchson, an actor whose physical presence and nuanced performance brought Reacher to life, opens up about the new season, the deeper layers of his character, and the complexities that lie ahead. Expanding Reacher's world, Season 2 of Reacher promises to delve into new territory, not just in terms of the plot, but also in how it expands the world around Jack Reacher. Ritchson highlights that one of the key goals this season was to explore more dimensions of Reacher's psyche. In Season 1, we set the groundwork for who Reacher is, Ritchson says. He's a man of few words, but he lets his actions speak volumes. Now we want to peel back some layers and explore what makes him tick beyond the fighting and the detective work. The shift in focus from purely physical confrontations to emotional and psychological depth allows for a richer narrative, according to Ritchson. He explains that fans will get to see more of Reacher's vulnerabilities, both as a man and as someone constantly on the move. Reacher doesn't stay in one place, and that speaks to who he is at his core. He's always searching, but never settling, Ritchson adds. That restlessness, that need to keep moving, has a deeper emotional undercurrent this season, and we tap into that. New characters, new challenges, the introduction of new characters in Season 2 provides fertile ground for Reacher's growth. While Season 1 saw him dealing with personal betrayals and intense crime solving, the new season ups the ante by introducing figures from his past and people who challenge his principles. Reacher is a lone wolf by nature, Ritchson explains. He doesn't trust easily, and when he does, it's usually because someone has proven themselves through action, not words. This season, we bring in characters that really test his limits not just physically, but morally and emotionally. Ritchson hints at the appearance of certain allies who may not align with Reacher's uncompromising sense of justice. Reacher's black and white world is going to blur a bit, he teases. There are going to be situations where he's forced to rethink his approach, and that's where the tension really comes from this season. The arrival of new antagonists also pushes Reacher into more dangerous and unfamiliar territory. We've got some really formidable villains this season, Ritchson reveals. These are people who are as smart and capable as Reacher, which makes for some really intense confrontations. But what's different is that these enemies know how to hit Reacher where it hurts, not just physically, but emotionally. The physicality of Reacher, one of the most talked about aspects of Reacher, is the sheer physicality that Alan Ritchson brings to the role. Standing at 6'4" with a muscular frame, Ritchson is a near-perfect embodiment of the towering Jack Reacher from Lee Child's novels. However, Ritchson is quick to point out that portraying Reacher isn't just about looking the part. It's also about understanding how Reacher's physical presence influences his interactions with the world around him. Reacher doesn't use his size to intimidate people, Ritchson explains. He's very aware of his strength, but he doesn't throw it around recklessly. He's tactical. Every punch, every move is calculated. This season, we really leaned into that, how Reacher uses his physicality not just in fights, but in everyday situations. He's someone who can diffuse a situation with a look or a gesture before it even turns violent. But Ritchson also acknowledges the toll that the action-heavy scenes take on him. This season, the fights are bigger, more intense, and they take a lot out of me, he admits. It's a challenge to stay in peak physical condition, but it's also incredibly rewarding when you see how those moments play out on screen. Reacher's moral code at the core of Jack Reacher's character is his unwavering moral compass. He operates outside the law, but he has a strict code of ethics that he abides by. Ritchson believes that this aspect of Reacher's character is one of the most compelling elements of the show. Reacher is someone who believes in justice, but not necessarily the kind of justice that the system provides, Ritchson says. He's seen too much corruption and too many loopholes, so he takes matters into his own hands. But he's not a vigilante. He doesn't go looking for trouble. Trouble finds him, and when it does, he handles it in a way that ensures there's no loose ends. In Season 2, Reacher's moral code is tested like never before. There are going to be moments where Reacher has to decide how far he's willing to go to achieve justice, Ritchson teases. The line between right and wrong becomes a lot more blurred this season, and that's going to put Reacher in some really tough situations. Building on success, the success of Reacher's first season has undoubtedly raised the stakes for the second. But Ritchson remains confident that fans will be just as hooked this time around. We've taken everything that worked in Season 1 and built on it, he says. The action is bigger, the stakes are higher, and the characters are more complex. But at its core, it's still the same Reacher that people fell in love with. It's still about a man who's trying to do the right thing in a world that's often wrong.